Hello YouTube, I'm the Foam Witch, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made Astarion's dagger from Baldur's Gate 3. To make this dagger, I'm using these awesome templates that I found on Etsy. They are from Kai Heim's Misguided Moon, sorry if I'm saying that wrong. I will put the link to these in the description of this video so you can get this template for yourself. Starting with the blade of the dagger, this piece of the template got cut out twice of 5mm foam. To make the blade more sturdy, I took two pieces of wire coat hanger, taping them together, then I made a channel in both of the blade pieces so that the wire could get stuck into. The wire then got stuck in place with hot glue, with the second foam blade piece then being stuck on top. The edge of the blade then needed thinning out so it looked a bit more realistic, so I drew a guideline and then trimmed some of that foam back with a sharp craft knife. This edge then needed tidying up because it looked a bit messy, so I just took my Dremel with sanding barrel attachment and sanded it until it was smooth. This was done on both sides. As you can see here, this made it super smooth and made it look a bit more realistic like a dagger would be. Two of these detail pieces then got cut out also out of 5mm foam, and they got stuck to the bottom of the blade and they got joined together where they meet at the edges. These also got to tidy up with the Dremel to round them off. These little tiny pieces then got cut out of 5mm foam, there was 4 in total, 2 for each side. Then a little triangle piece was stuck on each side out of 3mm foam and some lines scored into the blade to add some detail. It was then time to make the handle, and this was my favourite part. Scoring the lines in about halfway through the foam, you don't want to cut all the way through. Once these lines were then heated up with a heat gun, they expand, sorry I forgot to film that part, giving the detail lines. This is such a cool way to add detail lines into foam. Once the square piece had been cut out, the two edges got stuck together, which gave this round piece that was going to form the handle. Because the handle needed to be solid, I took some of this thick foam dowel which I got from the awesome Tig supplies along with all the other materials in this video. This got stuck in the middle of the handle, making it super solid. Two of these circle pieces then got cut out, one's going to go near the blade and one's going to go on the bottom of the handle. These also, just like everything else, got rounded off with the Dremel. A hole was then drilled into one of these circle pieces so that the wire could be pushed through. This got pushed onto the bottom of the blade and then got stuck down. After drilling another hole into the handle, the wire of the blade then got stuck into that. And this is how it was looking after those parts had been stuck together. The second of the circle pieces that was cut out earlier got stuck onto the bottom of the handle, which looked like this. A smaller circle shape was then cut out of 5mm foam, which was going to get stuck on top of the last one. This part of the template was then used, and this was cut out twice, once out of 5mm and once out of 10mm foam. These were then stuck together to give one thicker piece that was going to be added as a detail at the end of the handle. After it had been rounded off with the Dremel, of course, this then got stuck on top of the smaller circle piece. The build of the dagger was then complete, and I think it turned out pretty awesome. I wanted to fill in a seam line on the handle, so I used this awesome flexi filler from Tig supplies. I applied this on the seam line using a silicone brush and then dipping my finger in water just smoothed it out once it was on. Once it dried fully overnight, the seam line was perfect. It was then time to seal the dagger before painting, and I used my favourite sealer, black flexi paint, also from Tig supplies. I love them. Flexi paint is a non-toxic brush on sealer, and for this dagger I used 3 layers. And this is how it looked once the flexi paint had fully dried. I then painted the dagger using various airbrush paints, but I brushed these on by hand. They were all Vallejo airbrush paints, and for the blade I used silver and gunmetal. For the gold parts, again Vallejo airbrush paints, and no surprise, in gold. I then painted the handle, and for the brown parts I used dark brown. And for the red parts I mixed together vermilion with a colour that they just call brown, but it's kind of like a reddy brown. This is a closer look at the handle once it had been painted. And this is how the full dagger looked once all of the painting was complete. I then wanted to protect the paintwork, so I used this Flexi Paint No Tack Top Coat Sealer, again from Tig supplies. For the blade I used the Gloss Top Coat Sealer, and this got brushed on using 2 layers. It was quite hard to pick up under these lights on the camera, but this does have a nice gloss finish. For For the handle I used the matte top coat. It does leave a little bit of a sheen, but it's definitely not as shiny as the gloss. And once that top coat had completely dried, the painting and also the dagger were complete. I was really happy with how this turned out and I really enjoyed this build. If you are still watching this video at this point, I want to give you a massive huge thank you. If you haven't already, if you would like to subscribe to my channel, that would be absolutely incredible. For anyone who might like to support the page and help me keep doing what I do have a Ko-fi page set up for donations. Nothing is ever expected, but everything is so appreciated. I really hope you've enjoyed the video, and all I've got left to say is, I'll see you next time.